Okay, so in order to get the dimensions of the mini version, I'm first just going to look at this rectangle because I know some of the dimensions of that rectangle, or at least one of them. So I know in my other version that rectangle is 18 by 5, and in my little mini version it's 9 by a mystery number, n. So this is my mini version. This was the one that we originally started with yesterday. Okay, so if I set up my proportions, rate equals rate, like we've always done, and I have length on top and width on the bottom to match each side, I know that my bigger rectangle was a length of 18 and a width of 5, and my new rectangle is a length of 9 and a width of a number right now I don't know. Now I realize, because this one's kind of easy, that we can look at it and know 18 divided by 2 gave us 9, so we would do 5 divided by 2 to give us 2.5. I know n is eventually going to be 2.5 or 2 5/10 or 2.5, however you want to phrase it, but we're going to do it the mathematical way because sometimes it won't be a number that we can do that way. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. So 9 times 5 is the same as or equal to 18 times n. So I'm going to solve for n. My goal anytime I have an equation with a variable is to solve for the variable to figure out what it is, and I have to get it all by itself on one side of the equal sign. So first I'm going to solve this side. 9 times 5 is 45 is equal to 18 times n. Now I still want to get rid of the 18. I want it to go away. So right now it is being multiplied by n, so I'm going to do the inverse operation and I will divide by 18 on both sides. 18 divided by 18 is 1. 1 times n is just n, is equal to 45 divided by 18. Now that most of us cannot do in our head, so I'm going to bring it over here to the side and I'm going to do 45 divided by 18. Now I have to think how many times 18 is going to go into 45. So if I think of 18 as almost 20, 20 times 2 is 40, so I'm going to try 18 times 2 first. I'm going to bring it over here. 18 times 2, 8 times 2 is 16. I'm going to regroup my 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 more is 3. Another 18 would take me over that, so it is 2, and I need to make sure, standard algorithm, I'm lining it up in the right spot over the 5. 2 times 18 is 36, and then I'm going to subtract. I have to regroup here. 15 take away 6 is 9. I'm going to give myself a decimal and a 0, bring it down. 18 will go into 90. Let's see how many times. 18 times. Now when I think about if I can get a 0 in the ones place, I know that 8 times 5 would give me a 0 in the ones place, so that's the one I want to try. So 8 times 5 is 40. I'm going to regroup my 4 tens over here. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 more is 9, 90, which was what I was hoping for. So 5 times 18 is 90, subtract, and I get 0. Now 2.5 was the original number that I was hoping to get. So now if I look at a different rectangle, because I know the length of this side, this side, this side, this side, all those short sides are 2.5. I know all of the long sides are 9. Now I still have, let me get another color pen. I still have these medium-sized sides. All of those medium-sized sides I still have to figure out. So now I'm going to take a different rectangle. I'm going to take this rectangle right here. I know that in my regular version, that rectangle was 18 by 8. So in my mini version, I know it's 9 by, now I have a new n, a new number that I need to figure out. So I'm going to solve it the same way. I'm going to set up my proportions, and I have length on the top, width on the bottom. In my big rectangle, my length was 18 and my width was 8. In my smaller version, my length is 9 and my width is n. Now again, we can look at this and already know 18 divided by 2 got us 9, so 8 divided by 2 will give us our answer. So any reasonable mathematician would know that n is going to be 4. But now let's see mathematically why that works, so that when it's not an easy one, we can still figure it out on our own. So we're going to cross multiply. 9 times 8 is equal to, we're going to cross multiply 18 times n. So 9 times 8 is 72. I'm going to bring down the rest of the problem. 72 is equal to 18 times n. My goal anytime I have a variable in my equation is to get the variable all by itself on one side of the equal sign so that it will tell me what n is. So the 18 has to go away. Right now 18 is being multiplied, so I will do the inverse operation. I will divide by 18 on both sides. 18 divided by 18 is 1, and 1 times n is just n. So now I have n is something. So now I have to do the 72 divided by 18. So 72 divided by 18. I know that 18 times 5 was 90, so I'm going to go one smaller and try 18 times 4. 4 times 8 is 32. I'm going to regroup my 3 10s up here. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 more is 7, so it is exactly 72. So I can do 18, times 4, sorry, I looked at that 3. So 18 times 4 is 72. I'm going to subtract and get 0, so n is 4. So now I know the length of this side. So now that you know all of these medium-sized lines are 4, all of the smallest lines are 2.5, you already knew the big ones were 9, now you're going to solve for volume and surface area of this new box.